the first Irish saint to be canonized by a pope. He was famous for the supernatural miracles attributed to him. Today, he is best known for his prophecies about the popes. In the heart of Rome, where echoes of history mix with the whispers of prophecies, there is a haunting story that captivates both believers and skeptics for centuries. The prophecy of Saint Malachi, recorded in an enigmatic manuscript, has long fascinated and frightened. Currently, these mysterious predictions seem to be coming true, casting a shadow of uncertainty over the Vatican and the world. Are we about to witness the fulfillment of an ancient prophecy, or is it just a coincidence shrouded in superstition? Discover with us the terrifying prophecy of Saint Malachi that will be fulfilled in 2024, a journey of faith and leadership. Majel Medoc, born in Armagh, Ireland in 1094, had a surname that evoked his noble lineage. Saint Bernard of Clairvaux mentioned his esteemed ancestry. Baptized as Malmedoc, which means devotee or servant of Medoc, he was also known as Medoc of the Ferns in Latin. This name evolved into Malachus and later into Saint Malachi in English. His path to the priesthood began under the guidance of the hermit Himar in Hagen. Later, Himar became abbot of Armagh, aligning with those who wanted to reform the Irish Church. Saint Malachi, influenced by these principles, was likely greatly impacted by Himar. After in-depth studies, Saint Malachi was ordained a priest by Cellach of Armagh, also known as Celsus, in 1119. In the course of 1 or 2 years, he took on the responsibility of overseeing the Diocese of Armagh. During this period, he diligently applied the teachings and practices of the Roman Church in all the churches under his responsibility. He ensured that the apostolic sanctions and customs of the Roman Church were respected. Saint Malachi also introduced significant changes to liturgical practices, teaching the Roman method of psalming the canonical hour services, bringing uniformity and reverence to worship ceremonies. Additionally, he introduced new rituals for confession, confirmation, and marriage contracts, which his parishioners were previously unaware of or ignored. With the approval of Cellach and Aimar, Saint Malachi embarked on a journey to enhance his education with Mael Suwa Inmar, also known as Malchus, the former bishop of Cachal, who had retired to Lismore under the direction of Malchus. In 1123, the leader of the Bangor Abbey passed away. Bangor was an important religious center in northeastern Ireland. As he spent his last days in Lismore, it is likely that he was a friend of Malchus, Bishop of Waterford, and part of his movement. After his death, St. Malachi's uncle, who succeeded him, showed a willingness to leave his duties and hand over the monastery to his nephew. Thus, St. Malachi became abbot of the Bangor Abbey. This transition was also an opportunity to follow one of the rules established by the Rad Brasail Synod in creating the Diocese of Connors. Selassie, who held the post of co-archbishop of Patrick and had been consecrated bishop, successfully organized the Diocese of Armagh according to the Rad Brasail plan. Malachias being respected as co-archbishop of Comgal, it was likely that, if he became bishop, he could effectively organize the Diocese of Connaught. In 1124, St. Malachi went to Bangor, where he was officially named abbot and consecrated bishop by Shelach. Bernard, a chronicler of the time, tells fascinating stories about St. Malachi's dedication to religion. He praises Malachi's passion for his faith, which was evident in his work in Connor and Armagh. During his tenure as Bishop of Down and Connor, St. Malachi demonstrated remarkable leadership. In 1127, he embarked on a journey to Lismore, where he was the confessor of Cormac MacCarthy, Prince of Desmond. Despite the difficulties, Saint Malachi resided in Bangor, leading the community of monks. Faced with adversity, he showed resilience and compassion. When native princes attacked the dioceses of Down and Connor, they transferred the monks from Bangor to Iveragh in County Kerry, where they found refuge under the protection of King Cormac. With the death of Celsus in 1129, Saint Malachi was appointed Archbishop of Armagh. In 1132, he reluctantly accepted this prestigious position due to the political intrigues surrounding it. It took 2 years for him to officially assume his role as Archbishop. Facing challenges and obstacles, he even had to negotiate the acquisition of the Bachalisu, a sacred relic from Niall, a lay primate who took control of the archbishopric. The prophecy of the popes, Saint Malachi, was highly respected, not only for his ability to manage affairs, but also for the accounts of miracles attributed to him, elevating him to the status of a revered holy man. His commitment to deepening spirituality and reforming religious practices made him a beloved figure to those who lived by his side. Even after his death in 1148, Saint Malachi's influence continued to grow, leading to his canonization as a saint by Pope Clement III in 1190. His contributions left an indelible mark on the Irish Church. Over time, his account blended with the legends of prophecy, especially through the famous prophecy of the popes. A significant moment in Saint Malachi's life was his pilgrimage to Rome, which also served as a crucial political mission. In 1139, he undertook this journey to meet with Pope Innocent II and seek his support for the bishops of Armagh and Cashel. This action demonstrates his commitment to strengthening the ties between the Irish Church and the Holy See, marking a crucial chapter in his career as a reformer. What truly captivates the imagination about Saint Malachi is the vision he supposedly had during his pilgrimage. While climbing the hills of Rome in deep prayer, he entered a state of trance. During this spiritual experience, he allegedly had a vision of the future, describing the succession of popes from his time until the end of time. Upon emerging from the trance, Saint Malachi recorded his visions, ensuring that his prophecy endured through the ages. The prophecy of Saint Malachi remained shrouded in mystery for centuries and was only revealed at the end of the 16th century. This long period of obscurity generated debates and speculations about its accuracy and implications for the future of the papacy and the Catholic Church. During the trance, Saint Malachi had the vision of a sequence of Latin phrases. Each phrase was supposed to symbolize a pope, starting from the time of Saint Malachi and culminating with a pope who would lead during a period of profound change or turmoil. Often interpreted as a biblical apocalypse, the prophecy lists a total of 112 popes, a structured compilation that has fascinated scholars and curious minds for generations. However, it is the end of this list that has captivated the world's imagination. The 112th pope, named Peter the Roman, is the focal point of Saint Malachi's prophecy. According to the prophecy, this pope would guide the church through a period of immense upheaval or transformation. This has generated much speculation and debate. The prophecy suggesting that we may be living in the era of the last pope has raised questions and concerns among believers and curious individuals. Is Saint Malachi's prophecy a true vision of the future or merely a captivating historical artifact? If accurate, this would mean that Pope Francis is indeed the culmination of this secular prediction, the prophetic thread of Saint Malachi. Pope Francis, born Jorge Mario Bergoglio, ascended to the papacy in 2013. His smallest gestures and decisions since then have been scrutinized by those who pay attention to prophecies. A particularly intriguing aspect of his pontificate is that he is the first Jesuit to become pope. The Jesuits, or Society of Jesus, formed in the 16th century, are a Catholic order known for their dedication to education, missionary work, and charity. They are reputed for their intellect and commitment to social justice. These backgrounds illuminate how Pope Francis performs his duties. The Jesuits have always been influential and sometimes controversial in the Church, often playing a crucial role in political and cultural events. This adds fascination to Pope Francis's mandate through the lens of Saint Malachi's prophecy. This is particularly relevant when considering Pope Francis as the first Jesuit pope. To fully understand his role, it is necessary to know the complex history of the Jesuits, including their expulsion from various European countries. The Jesuits were not only known for their educational and missionary work, but were also deeply involved in the politics and power dynamics of their time. This involvement sometimes put them in conflict with national governments and other religious orders. In the 18th century, the Jesuits became influential in European society, making advances in education and maintaining ties with the Vatican. However, their growing power generated distrust and hostility. The European monarchies, wary of their political involvement, saw them as a threat. This tension led to a series of expulsions by European powers. Portugal expelled the Jesuits in 1759, France followed in 1764, and Spain in 1767. Even the Papal States, under pressure, suppressed the order in 1763. These expulsions were motivated by political, religious, and economic factors, with authorities seeing the Jesuits as obstacles to their power. Consequently, the Jesuits had to operate in reduced capacity and often in exile. Only in 1814 did Pope Pius VII restore the Society of Jesus. Pope Francis's Jesuit origins are significant in this historical context. This legacy likely influences Pope Francis's approach to leading the Catholic Church, especially in addressing internal and external challenges. The Jesuits' experience in education and diplomacy may influence his policies and reforms. This legacy also brings its challenges. With the Jesuits' history marked by tensions with authorities and other religious factions, it is not surprising that Pope Francis has been a reformer and controversial. He has championed issues like climate change, poverty, and refugees, following the Jesuits' commitment to social justice. However, his pontificate has faced challenges, particularly in managing scandals within the Church. These scandals have caused turmoil and sparked criticism of the Vatican's response. Additionally, under his leadership, Pope Francis has had to confront resistance within the Church, particularly from conservative factions. These viewpoints on marriage and communion, especially for divorced and remarried Catholics, have generated debates. Given the Jesuits' controversial history, it is surprising that a Jesuit has become Pope. This choice can only be understood through Saint Malachi's prophecy. The prophecy, which designates Pope Francis as the last pope, adds intrigue to his appointment. Many wonder how Pope Francis's pontificate will fit into Saint Malachi's prophecy. Assessing the historical accuracy of Saint Malachi's prophecy is fascinating to see how predictions align with current popes. The intriguing aspect lies in its connection with historical events and figures. As we move forward on the list, the descriptions seem to become more precise, especially in the modern era. For example, the prophecy speaks of Pope Benedict XV as a religion depopulated, which resonates with the decline of religion followers during his pontificate, coinciding with the devastating effects of World War I and the Bolshevik Revolution. Another striking example is that of Pope John Paul II, described as coming from the work of the sun. This phrase strangely corresponds to his life, as he was born during a solar eclipse in 1920 and was buried during another eclipse. These links between the prophecy and real events have surprised many observers. Pope Paul VI, described as the flower of flowers, corresponds to his coat of arms with 3 lilies. The alignment of these details with each pope's phrases captivates those who study Saint Malachi's prophecy. The predictions often seem too precise to be dismissed. As the list progresses, accuracy seems to increase, especially for the last popes. In particular, Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, who wrote extensively about the life of Malachi, made no mention of the prophecy. An 18th century Spanish scholar named Benito Jerónimo Feijó y Montenegro suggested that the accuracy of the verses before their publication and their subsequent inaccuracy indicates that they were fabricated at that time. Additionally, the verses and explanations bear a striking resemblance to a 1557 papal history, suggesting a possible source of inspiration. In 1694, Claude François Ménestrier argued that the additional explanations were not written by Chaconius, as they did not appear in any of his works, nor were mentioned in his writings. A fascinating theory about the prophecy's origin was presented by Louis Moreri, a 17th century French priest and encyclopedist. According to him, supporters of Cardinal Girolamo Simoncelli circulated the prophecy during a papal conclave in 1590, where Simoncelli hoped to become pope. The prophecy, describing the next pope as ex antiquitate urbis, seemed to correspond to Simoncelli's origins in Orvieto, known in Latin as Urbi Vetus, or Old City. The theory suggests that the prophecy was created to support Simoncelli, though it failed. However, a letter from 1587 complicated this theory. It suggests that Deror Coeli, meaning from the dew of heaven, could refer to Cardinal Giovanni Girolamo Albani. His associates linked Alba or dawn to Albania and interpreted the dew as a morning symbol, connecting it to him. This discovery adds an intriguing twist to the interpretation of the prophecy. Scholars and papal supporters who endorse the authenticity of Saint Malachi's prophecy highlight his reputation as an authentic prophet. Records show that he had the gift of prophecy. One of his notable predictions foresaw England's oppression of Ireland for 7 centuries, followed by a punishment for England and a revival of faith in Ireland. Much of this prophecy came true, corroborated by a manuscript found in Clairvaux dating back to Saint Malachi's time. History recognized him as a prophet with verifiable predictions, so it is reasonable to consider the authenticity of his papal prophecy. A compelling argument for the authenticity of the prophecies comes from the approval of 2 scholars of the Tridentine period, Cornelius a Lapide and Onofrio Panvinio. These scholars were not only renowned, but also showed a deep interest in prophecies. Panvinio, a respected historian and archaeologist, played a crucial role in drawing attention to the prophecies. As chief librarian and editor of the Vatican Library, he found the manuscript in the Vatican archives. Panvinio was highly respected for his work on medieval and ancient Roman history, with over 16 major publications. His reputation was such that he was named the father of all history. Although little is known about the original manuscript he discovered, Panvinio's reputation leaves no doubt about the authenticity of his findings. Similarly, Lapide, a renowned scholar celebrated for his interpretations of scriptures and prophecies, dedicated much effort to studying Saint Malachi's prophecies and even attempted to create a calendar to predict the emergence of Peter the Roman. Panvinio and Lapide's meticulous work and reputation prove the prophecy's authenticity, highlighting their importance. Other scholars, such as Giovanni di Capugnano, Jean Boucher, and Abbot François Coucherat, wrote or published works supporting the prophecy's authenticity. These scholars were well educated, most being historians, medieval heraldry experts, and humanist textual critics. None doubted the manuscript's authenticity. Although arguments of authority are not the strongest, the consensus among these respected figures, covering years of Catholic scholarship, at least justifies a respectful consideration of the prophecies instead of a simple rejection, even without the testimonies of Lapide, Panvinio, and others. We can defend the authenticity of Saint Malachi's prophecy with evidence from the 13th century. A notable case is the 13th century work titled De Vaticinis Summis Pontificibus. It comprises two papal prophecy manuscripts gathered into one. The first part, written around 1218, contains 15 papal prophecies from the pontificate of Nicholas III from 1277 to 1280. The second part, written around 1330, adds 15 prophecies. At the Council of Constance in 1414, the manuscripts were combined into one, totaling 30 papal prophecies. These prophecies are concise Latin phrases using word play and allegories, similar to Saint Malachi's prophecies. It is interesting to note that in the 14th and 15th centuries, these prophecies were even more renowned than Saint Malachi's. In the 16th and 17th centuries, one could say that Saint Malachi drew inspiration from this earlier work, or that fragments of De Vaticinis Summis Pontificibus were hastily copied excerpts of Saint Malachi's prophecies. This proves that Saint Malachi's prophecies existed before the 16th century. Do Saint Malachi's prophecies lack precision, as we would like? Most contain only a few words. But are the explanations and links always so complicated? Not always. According to supporters, the lack of precision does not discredit a prophecy. Many prophecies in the Holy Scriptures are vague. Take Hosea, chapter 11, verse 1. Out of Egypt I called my son. How can one foresee the flight to Egypt before it happens? Likewise, can one assert with certainty that Matthias' election in place of Judas in chapter 1 of Acts is directly mentioned in Psalm 109, verse 8, where it says, "May his days be few, and may another take his place." However, according to divine revelation, these are true prophecies. These biblical prophecies are vague, even more so than St. Malachi's list. Excessive specificity can sometimes indicate a false prophecy, a convincing aspect, often overlooked, but supporting St. Malachi's prophecy's authenticity is recognition by the popes themselves. They took these prophecies seriously and endeavored to align their actions with them. Carlo Marcora, an Italian historian renowned for his 6-volume study of the papacy, published between 1960 and 1974, meticulously documented the number of St. Malachi's titles attributed to pontiffs with the Pope's approval. For example, Pius VI accepted the title of Peregrinus Apostolicus, while Lumen Incallo was associated with Leo III and Pastor Angelicus with Pius XIII. Notably, Pastor Angelicus was used as the title for Pius XIII's biographical documentary, sanctioned in 1942, and for a posthumously published book in 1958. If Pius VI, Leo XIII, or Pius XV had doubts about Malachi's prophecy's authenticity, it would seem strange that they publicly adopted these titles. Their willingness to associate with these prophecies suggests a certain level of belief, adding weight to St. Malachi's predictions' credibility. It is time to move on to today's subscriber's choice. In the heart of Vatican City, whispers circulated like smoke dancing. Carrying the weight of St. Malachi's prophecy, the ancient words herald the rise and fall of pontiffs, a chilling echo of fate. Pope Francis, with his gentle demeanor and progressive spirit, dismissed the prophecy with a smile. But as the calendar turned to 2024, apprehension gripped the Holy See. On a stormy night, the sky wept as if mourning the imminence of misfortune. In the room of the popes, Francis leaned over ancient texts, seeking comfort in his predecessor's wisdom. A chill invades the room, and a shadow falls over him. The prophecy, once considered folklore, casts a sinister shadow over the pontiff's faith. At midnight, the prophecy unfolds its dark wings. In the silence, a chilling scream pierces the sacred halls of the Vatican. The prophecy is fulfilled. The whispers become murmurs, the murmurs of chants. The prophecy, once buried in history, burns in believers' hearts. Saint Malachi's terrifying prophecy about Pope Francis will come true in 2024. As dawn rises over St. Peter's Basilica, the world awaits the next chapter of the papacy saga, haunted by the prophecy specter. Do you believe in St. Malachi's prophecy? Theme and apocalyptic mystery. The part of St. Malachi's prophecy regarding Pope Francis addresses deeply apocalyptic themes, which has given rise to much speculation about possible connections between his pontificate and end times predictions. According to the prophecy, after the 112th Pope, significant disturbances and even catastrophic events are expected. Many wonder if Pope Francis's reign heralds major global or spiritual changes. Examining the prophecy in light of biblical references, especially from the book of Revelation, the parallels become striking. Revelation announces apocalyptic events, upheavals, and the final judgment. Some interpreters of Saint Malachi's prophecy believe the last pope corresponds to the biblical images of the end times. The mention of Peter the Roman guiding the church through tribulations before the fall of Rome recalls certain apocalyptic scenarios from the Bible. Today, it is interesting to see how current events in the Catholic Church and world affairs can resonate with the prophecy's predictions. Under Pope Francis's leadership, the Catholic Church has faced significant challenges, such as clergy misconduct issues, internal conflicts, and controversial reforms. Additionally, global events like climate change and social upheavals contribute to a sense of a changing world. Some prophecy believers may see these events as signs that predictions are coming true. However, it is crucial to approach these interpretations with balance. While apocalyptic themes seem to match some current events, it is important to remember that prophecy interpretation is subjective. Individuals and groups may perceive these alignments differently. Some may consider events under Pope Francis as coincidences or part of the Church's evolution rather than signs of an impending apocalypse. It is interesting to note that Pope Francis is linked to a mysterious prophecy, that of Anna Katharina Emmerich. Emmerich, an 18th and 19th century German nun and mystic, had visions predicting a turbulent period for the Church with two popes. According to these visions, one of these popes would guide the Church through important challenges and transformations. Pope Benedict XVI's unexpected resignation in 2013, followed by Pope Francis's election, brought Emmerich's prophecy to light. Benedict XVI's unprecedented resignation in almost 600 years broke the long tradition of popes remaining in office until death. This historical event generated various interpretations and discussions within and beyond the Catholic community, especially among those studying church prophecies. The phenomenon of two living popes, Francis and his predecessor, Benedict XV, is notable in Catholic Church history. Some see this as the fulfillment of Emmerich's prophecy, suggesting the Church is undergoing an era of profound changes and turbulence. Under Francis's leadership, the Church has experienced significant reforms and moved away from traditional perspectives held during Benedict's tenure. However, it is essential to approach this situation with awareness of the Church's complex history and the diverse interpretations it generates. Emmerich's visions, like Saint Malachi's, continue to be debated, varying according to factions and individuals. Even after Saint Malachi's death, his memory remains honored and beloved. His body was buried in the Clairvaux Abbey, near the tomb of his friend Bernard of Clairvaux. Saint Malachi's tomb was moved several times due to church reconstructions. In 1194, parts of Saint Malachi's remains were transported to Ireland and placed in the Mellifont Abbey and other Cistercian abbeys. In Clairvaux, fragments of his arm and skull were placed in reliquaries in the abbey's treasury. These reliquaries were adorned with precious stones and enameled or painted motifs. During the French Revolution, the reliquaries were destroyed, but the sacred relics were saved. Today, Saint Malachi's head is preserved in a reliquary in the Troyes Cathedral near Clairvaux. Unfortunately, Saint Malachi's and Saint Bernard's tombs were desecrated during the Revolution, and their bones were mixed and scattered in various Clairvaux parishes. Philippe Guignard documented the relics in the Patrologia Latina. Saint Malachi's feast is celebrated on November 3rd to avoid conflict with All Souls' Day. What do you think about the authenticity of the prophecy of the popes? Share your opinion in the comments below. If you like the videos, leave your like so the algorithm will continue sending our videos to you.